Hey, want to know an example page where you can find all the scenarios to practice your test automation skills? How do you deploy JMeter on AWS using Terraform? And do you know the adoption of APIs is on the rise? How can you make sure that your security is keeping up with this development? Find out the answers to these and all other end-to-end full pipeline DevOps, automation testing, performance testing, and security testing in this episode of the Test Guild News Show for the week of January 23rd. So grab your favorite cup of coffee and tea and let's do this. This episode of the Test Guild News Show is sponsored by the awesome folks at Applitools. Applitools is the next generation test automation platform, which is actually powered by Visual AI. So it's going to help you increase quality, accelerate delivery, and reduce costs with what I think is one of the world's most intelligent test automation platforms. But don't just take my word for it. Seeing is believing. So create your free account now by clicking in the link in the first comment down below. And while you're there, why not leave a comment, and subscribe to get alerted every time I release a new episode. First up, automation news. I get asked all the time, are there any test websites I can use to help me learn test automation? Well, the creator of Selectors Hub actually let me know that they created a test page to help you especially figure out how to use XPath with your test automation. So this page allows you to find out how to automate the different types of controls without XPath. So I don't know if I ever mentioned Selectors Hub before, but it's a really great plugin. And so if you go to the main page, you can also download the plugin for your browser as well. And also give a follow to the creator of Selectors Hub, Sanjay Kumar, who's a really great resource on test automation in general anyway. So thank you, Sanjay, for that resource. Also, this next news item is all about our awesome sponsor, Applitools. They actually won one of the best testing services and tools in the DevOps Dozen. And if you're not familiar with the award, the DevOps Dozen Award celebrates innovative people and companies whose contributions are of great value to the DevOps community. And that's one of the reasons why I love working with Applitools and having them as our sponsor, because it's an actual tool that I actually used on my career and one I believe in. And I actually love the founders. I met all the founders. They're awesome, awesome folks. So it's a tool and company I believe in. So just some more validation from the community as well that sees awesome value in Applitools. If you haven't tried them yet, once again, definitely check out your free trial by clicking on that first link in the first comment down below. Also, there seems to be a lot of excitement going on around the introduction to Select File command, which is new to Cypress 9.3. And so this announcement talks about the new built-in way for you to select files in an HTML5 input element and simulate dragging files into the browser with the introduction of the Select File command. Has some cool examples of how to get started with it. And this new command actually replaces what was the Cypress File Upload Community plugin. And so thank you, Cypress, for this new feature. So another tool I've been mentioning a lot on this new show is Test Containers. They just released a new version for the Java 1.16.3, and it contains some new features that you need to know about as well. The first one is official support for Selenium 4. And this feature enhancement allows you not to have to log in after starting a container. They also made changes also in the K3S module to help you test Kubernetes components even better. With this latest change allowing you to spin up a K3S lightweight Kubernetes inside of a container. And they mentioned that they believe the K3 hits a sweet spot for ease of use and performance. So it's a good option for testing Kubernetes components. So if you haven't tried Test Containers yet, I highly recommend you check it out and also check out these new features as well. So in my post on my top predictions for 2022, one of them was how more and more companies are going to move towards the cloud and become cloud native. So this next piece of information actually validates that particular prediction I made earlier this year. And the survey talks about a massive migration to cloud is anticipated based on recent survey results. And it says the shift to the cloud in the wake of COVID-19 is being driven mainly by digital business transformation initiatives that require applications to be quickly built and managed by IT teams that are working from home themselves. And with the pandemic entering the third year, a hybrid workforce and the regular shifts between home and office is now permanent. So definitely check that out and other findings from that survey in the link down below. Now, I don't know who's writing the content for the Thundra blog post, but they always have really cool insights and blog posts on things I know a lot of people are struggling with. This most recent one is that they wrote is how to reduce test failures in CI/CD pipelines. And this article goes over the small obstacles making failing tests go ignored. Failing tests need to be addressed. how to improve your failing test process, and some other insight that I think you're going to find valuable. So definitely check that out as well in the link down below. Next up, performance and site reliability news. So in my Follow the Money segment, this next article is how continuous verification company Verica raises $12 million to make systems more resilient. So if you've been into chaos engineering, that's been a trend last year. I see it more as a trend this year as well. This is definitely something to keep your eye on. So this company calls themselves a continuous verification company that leans on chaos engineering techniques to make software and systems more resilient. And as I mentioned, they raised $12 million in a Series A round of funding recently. And one of the key quotes from this article is, outages and incidences have become news headlines due to how integral software has become in our day-to-day lives. Given the nature of large-scale complex systems, the operations of these systems don't know if or when things will fail. So these type of platforms allow you to improve the availability and security of your customers' systems through verification that helps engineer teams to better understand the unknown properties of their systems. And if you were to go to testskill.com and look at my predictions for 2022, you will notice not only is cloud native on there that I mentioned earlier, but also resilience testing is also on there. And a lot of times the way I come up with these predictions is where I see money being invested in. This was way before this particular company raised money, but really cool to see so far this year. My predictions have been spot on. So if you haven't checked out my predictions for 2022, I'll also have that for a link in the first comment down below as well. So another resource I mentioned a few times on this news show in the past is Naveen Kumar. He's a performance testing expert. He has a blog post called QA Insights, and he posts a lot around performance testing. So I think this next article is really going to help you. It's on how to deploy JMeter on AWS using Terraform. And this article goes over what the prerequisites are, what is Terraform, the AWS setup, JMeter in AWS using Terraform, with some nice examples, hands-on on how to get everything up and running. Like I said, really good resource to follow as well, because he produces a lot of great content around performance testing. So thank you, Naveen, for this latest post. Next up, security news. On past shows, I talked a lot about security and especially the rise of API testing and APIs, especially as we go cloud native. But how do you start thinking about security and the different types of exploits that could happen in your code and the attack surfaces that you need to defend against? And that's why I want to tell you about a session we're having at this year's Automation Guild happening February 7th to the 11th. This particular session goes over APIs adoption is on the rise, as we mentioned, and how security can keep up. Amacon's going to go over understanding the importance and need of API security and how to start implementing it. I think it's a critical skill all testers should have, especially if you're doing anything with API testing. You need to learn also how to maybe avoid getting hacked and some things you could do right from the beginning while you're testing, while you're developing to make those APIs more secure. So as I mentioned, you're only 2 weeks away from the 6th annual online event dedicated 100% to helping you succeed with creating all things automation testing. If you haven't already, head on over to automationguild.com and register today. And our next article is on Cisco Open Mode and Cisco Mobile Network and software created a critical security hole. So this security risk has been patched. The security update was released on January 19th. And the network giant said the vulnerability has been resolved. And the networking giant said the vulnerability it has resolved could have allowed unauthenticated remote attackers to disclose sensitive information or execute arbitrary commands as the root user in the context of the configured container. And it goes on to say that this vulnerability exists because the debug mode is incorrectly enabled for specific services. And that makes it so an attacker can exploit this vulnerability by connecting to the device and navigating to the service with the debug mode enabled. So if you're using Cisco, definitely check out to make sure you got the latest update to avoid getting hacked by this particular issue. All right, for links to everything of value we covered in this episode, head on over to the links in the first comment down below. And while you're there, make sure to check out our sponsored Apply Tools free account offer and discover how to take your automation testing to the next level, leveraging visual AI. So that's it for this episode of the Test Guild News Show. I'm Joe, and my mission is to help you succeed with creating end-to-end full-stack automation awesomeness. As always, test everything and keep the good. Cheers.